Welcome back to Google Trends Hub, where we dive deep into the stories that shape our digital world. The news cycle is moving at lightning speed, and today we've got some seismic shifts happening in the tech landscape that you absolutely cannot afford to miss. Get ready for some major updates that could redefine how we interact with the internet and the giants that power it. We're cutting through the noise to bring you the essential information you need to stay ahead. Let's get into it. First up, a monumental ruling in a major antitrust case is sending shockwaves through the tech industry, potentially reshaping multi-billion-dollar partnerships. We'll break down exactly what this means for one of the world's biggest tech companies and its most valuable alliances. Then, we're shifting gears to explore a significant development concerning two of the most ubiquitous pieces of software on the planet. A judge's decision could have dramatically altered their future, but as it stands, these essential tools are set to continue their reign, though not without some major adjustments. Next, we're tackling a story that's already got the market buzzing. A key player in the digital space has seen its stock prices surge following a crucial legal decision that impacts its core business and its strategic partnerships. We've got all the details on this market-moving news. And finally, we're looking at how these landmark rulings are rippling through the ecosystem, affecting everything from user experience to the competitive landscape. Get ready for a comprehensive breakdown of the decisions and their far-reaching consequences. Stick around because you won't want to miss a single second of this. Hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and let's get trending. Apple's deal's largely intact after antitrust ruling. This monumental decision in a high-profile antitrust case has largely preserved the lucrative deals between Apple and Google, impacting billions of dollars in revenue and the competitive landscape of search. Following months of intense testimony during the remedies phase of the significant antitrust trial against Google, Judge Amit Mehta has issued his final decision. This ruling is predominantly favorable to Apple's existing agreements with Alphabet, Google's parent company. The case, which saw the Department of Justice successfully argue that Google holds a monopoly in online search, entered its remedies phase nearly a year ago. This phase involved extensive testimony from various stakeholders, including key Apple executives like Eddie Q, who provided insights into the financial and strategic importance of their partnership with Google. The stakes were incredibly high, as some of the proposed remedies included the termination of these crucial deals, most notably prohibiting Google from maintaining its position as the default search engine on Apple's Safari browser. This partnership has been a massive revenue generator for Apple over the years, amounting to tens of billions of dollars. However, Judge Mehta's recent ruling has determined that these deals will remain largely unaffected. In the wake of this decision, Apple's stock experienced a notable surge, climbing by 3.4% in after-hours trading, while Google's stock saw an even more significant increase of over 7%. The ruling clarifies what Google can and cannot do regarding future partnerships with Apple, ensuring the continuation of their existing financial arrangements. For a more comprehensive look at the ruling's broader implications beyond the Apple-Google dynamic, further analysis is available. The market and industry observers are closely watching the public reaction and analyst takes, with many noting the significant financial implications for both tech giants. While Google celebrates the preservation of its core partnerships, competitors and regulators will be scrutinizing the details of the judge's concessions and the potential for future challenges. But what does this mean for the future of these tech titans and the digital services we use every day? Stay tuned as we break down the details of Google's ability to retain its most valuable assets. Google retains Chrome and Android amidst antitrust verdict. A significant legal victory allows Google to keep control of its flagship Chrome browser and Android operating system, thwarting the Department of Justice's attempts to break up the tech giant. In a move that brings substantial relief to the tech giant, a judge has ruled that Google will not be compelled to sell off either its Chrome browser or the Android operating system. These were among the key remedies proposed by the U.S. Department of Justice following Google's loss in a major antitrust case last August. District Judge Amit Mehta, presiding in Washington, rejected the DOJ's aggressive push to dismantle Google's core businesses. Instead, the ruling mandates that Google cease engaging in exclusive distribution deals for its search engine, a practice that included the multi-billion-dollar agreement with Apple to maintain its default search status on iOS devices. Furthermore, the judge has ordered Google to share certain search data with its competitors. This decision represents a critical judgment in one of several antitrust battles Google faces, with the legal proceedings spanning multiple presidential administrations. Google is also currently embroiled in a separate antitrust case concerning its digital advertising practices, a case it also lost in April. Despite the judge's ruling on remedies, Google has indicated its intention to appeal, particularly concerning the judge's finding that the company operates as a monopoly, controlling approximately 90% of the search market through exclusive agreements like the one now restricted with Apple. The judge's refusal to force a divestiture of Chrome and Android is likely to be seen as a positive development not only for Google, but also for other major technology companies navigating similar antitrust challenges. However, the decision may disappoint companies like OpenAI and Perplexity, which had expressed interest in acquiring the Chrome browser should Google be forced to sell it. This ruling has sparked considerable debate among industry watchers and competitors, with some arguing the remedies are insufficient to curb Google's market dominance. While Google avoids a breakup, the fight for market control is far from over. Next, we'll examine how these rulings impact the financial markets and what they mean for the future of innovation. Google's Chrome browser sale averted, but with key restrictions. In a landmark antitrust ruling, a federal judge has decided that Google will not be forced to divest its highly popular Chrome browser, though the company faces significant new obligations regarding data sharing and exclusive contracts. On Tuesday, a federal judge delivered a mixed verdict in the high-profile antitrust case against Google. The most significant piece of good news for the tech titan is the avoidance of a forced sale of its Chrome browser, a scenario that had been a distinct possibility. This outcome was immediately reflected in Google's stock performance, which saw a notable increase in after-hours trading. Conversely, the ruling imposes considerable limitations on Google, requiring the company to share data with its rivals and prohibiting many of the exclusive contracts that have underpinned its market dominance. The decision, issued by Judge Amit P. Mehta of the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia, follows his prior August 2024 ruling that declared Google's search business an illegal monopoly. The court's order explicitly states, Google will not be required to divest Chrome, nor will the court include a contingent divestiture of the Android operating system in the final judgment. The ruling further noted that the plaintiff's demands for forced divestiture of these key assets were overreaching, as Google had not utilized them to enforce illegal restraints. Chrome boasts an impressive user base of approximately 3.5 billion individuals worldwide. Notably, the AI company Perplexity had made an unsolicited offer to purchase Chrome for $34.5 billion, though this was widely perceived as a publicity stunt given Perplexity's own valuation at the time. The ruling mandates that Google must share specified search index and user interaction data, excluding advertising data, with qualified competitors. Additionally, the company is barred from entering into or maintaining exclusive contracts related to the distribution of Google Search, Chrome, Google Assistant, and the Gemini app, although certain exceptions are included to prevent harm to downstream businesses. Google is also relieved of requirements to present users with choice screens on its products or to encourage Android distribution partners to do the same. The judge also deemed certain proposed remedies, such as a nationwide public education campaign, as improper. Google, in its official statement, acknowledged the court's decision, noting the limits imposed on service distribution and the data sharing requirements. The company expressed concerns about the potential impact on user privacy and stated its intention to review the decision closely, while also highlighting the court's recognition that divesting Chrome and Android would have been detrimental to consumers and partners. Competitors, such as DuckDuckGo, expressed dissatisfaction, arguing that the imposed remedies are insufficient to address Google's alleged monopolistic behavior, and that the company will still be able to hinder competitors, particularly in the AI search arena. The potential for Google to engage in lobbying efforts or make appeals to the current administration remains a significant factor in the ongoing legal saga. This ruling has ignited discussions about the fairness of the remedies and whether they sufficiently address Google's alleged monopolistic practices. While Google escapes the harshest penalties, the implications for competition and innovation are profound. We now turn to the direct financial impact of these rulings, exploring how market reactions are shaping the future of tech. Apple's stock gains as Google's default deals remain unchanged. A federal judge's ruling allowing Google to continue its lucrative default search engine deals with Apple has led to a positive market reaction, with Apple's shares seeing a significant uptick. Apple's stock experienced a rise of over 3% in extended trading on Tuesday, following a crucial decision by a federal judge that permits Alphabet, Google's parent company, to continue its practice of paying to have Google Search preloaded as the default search engine on iPhones. While Apple was not a direct party in the antitrust trial, the judge's consideration of remedies had the potential to bar Google from making these multi-billion-dollar annual payments to Apple, which secure Google's default status on Safari browsers across iPhones, Macs, and iPads. Judge Amit Mehta explicitly stated in his decision, Google will not be barred from making payments or offering other consideration to distribution partners for preloading or placement of Google Search, Chrome, or its Gen AI products. The judge further elaborated that prohibiting such payments could inflict substantial, potentially crippling, harm on distribution partners, related markets, and consumers, thus arguing against a broad payment ban. The landmark case primarily centered on Google's dominance in the general search market, its violations of the Sherman Act, and the barriers it erected against competitors. However, the ruling does place restrictions on Google, barring it from entering or maintaining any exclusive contract related to the preloading or placement of its search engine or key applications on devices. This includes prohibitions on bundling Android services with Google Search or conditioning revenue-sharing agreements on the acceptance of other Google apps. The decision noted that Apple's deal with Google was considered exclusive due to its establishment of Google as the default search engine out of the box. Although Meta has imposed limitations on Google's ability to secure exclusive distribution through payments, he has not banned these payments entirely, leaving the door open for the negotiation of new agreements. The Department of Justice had proposed that any revised revenue-sharing agreements be limited to 1 year. Apple has not yet issued a public comment on the ruling. Google acknowledged the court's decision, stating its concerns about the impact of data sharing requirements on user privacy and its intention to review the ruling closely. The U.S. Department of Justice initiated its lawsuit against Google in 2020, alleging that the company maintained its search market share by creating significant obstacles for challengers, including its default search deals. The court had previously ruled that Google violated Section 2 of the Sherman Act. Testimony from Eddie Q, Apple's senior vice president of software and services, was presented on Google's behalf during the remedies phase. Analysts had previously predicted that any changes Apple might need to make in response to a Google ruling could take years, especially considering Google's stated intention to appeal and the potential for remedies trials to last up to 2 years, followed by further appeals. Google's default search agreements are substantial, with the company paying partners a total of $26 billion in 2021 to maintain their default search engine status. The payment to Apple is particularly critical, as it funnels traffic from Apple's massive user base to Google's search engine, significantly contributing to the profitability of Apple's services business. Apple maintains that it uses Google because it offers the best search engine and prioritizes providing its customers with the best tools. However, Apple has also explored alternatives, including considering the addition of AI search engines as options within its software. This ruling has significant implications for Apple Services' revenue stream, a key area of growth for the company. These rulings represent a pivotal moment, but the legal battles and market adjustments are ongoing. Now, let's bring it all together with a quick recap and a look at what's next for these tech giants. that was a whirlwind of tech news. We saw Google's key partnerships largely preserved in a major antitrust ruling, keeping its default search deals with Apple intact. Google also won a significant victory, retaining control of Chrome and Android despite the Department of Justice's push to break up the company. However, these wins come with new mandates, including data sharing with rivals and restrictions on exclusive contracts. Apple's stock saw a boost following the news that its lucrative deals with Google will continue, highlighting the financial interdependence of these tech giants. The market is buzzing, and the implications for competition, user privacy, and the future of digital services are massive. Don't miss out on future updates. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to Google Trends Hub for more in-depth analysis, ring that notification bell so you never miss an upload, leave a comment with your thoughts on these rulings, and follow us on all our social channels for more breaking news and discussions.